to talk about our present expert. We have with us Charu, who is a consultant with Accenture Strategies, Mumbai. She's a graduate from IIT Guwahati. She did his graduation in design, Bachelor of Design. She pursued MBA from IIM Calcutta and remained associated during her study and in between her study. After the study with few industries, starting with Netlink Software Group, Interaction Design, Sapient, MSG.ai, Citibank, and now presently working with Accenture Strategies. During her association with industries, she has worked with different roles, such as interaction as a interaction designer, bank operation, and the execution of various strategies in bank operations. She remained associated with national and international projects during her undergraduate and postgraduate studies also. In the present pandemic situation, what the whole world has witnessed is nothing but on-ground application of system engineering, industrial projects, teaching, learning, vocational education, religious practices, healthcare and fitness activities are some of the, is a long list, but I picked up some of them that all have exhibited number of case studies that have naturally come up because the whole situation has made up so prepared in no time that we have faced it successfully. And now today in the morning, AICT in the inauguration of this 54 FDPs has announced that they are starting 54 FDPs today. So people are sitting at distant positions and now able to join and attend. I welcome Charu for this session. Will a little brief about the group. This is a group of 152 faculty members. Mostly are the faculty members. Very few are MTech scholars. Some are very experienced faculty members, and I do understand while we were interacting, Charu, that talking to professors for you people is something is teaching to teachers, so it's a difficult task. But I do know that being in industry and something having on your experience side will always be there. So not as a teacher, but as a person who can facilitate by your own experiences working with different industries and working on systems either in operations or as a like right now Puneet sir has talked about design thinking, so begin career with that and now uh, standing at as a consultant with Accenture Strategies. With this brief background of today's expert for third session, I will now hand over the class to Charu for the interaction. So over to the expert Charu Soni. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And let me just first check with the screen sharing if it's working.
मैम अभी एक बार शेयर हो गया था, आपने फिर से अनशेयर कर दिया।
यस एक्चुअली वो गलत स्क्रीन शेयर हो गई थी। वो सही वाला विंडो वो दिखा नहीं रहा है। आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग, जस्ट गिव मी 2 more minutes.
Option to the presenter.
Yeah.
For presenter, you have to allow share option.
Oh,
For
okay.
original login, we have a administrative login in which we have to make the presenter to share it. Actually, host have to do.
एक्चुअली मैम को मैंने ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंटर बना दिया है, इसलिए मैम स्क्रीन शेयर कर पा रही हैं।
Yes, coming.
Yes, are you able to see my
Yes.
screen now?
I'm able to see your screen.
I think this
System engineering and industrial perspective. Yes.
Yeah, it is visible,
Yes,
Charu.
yes,
It is very well visible. You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let me start with introducing myself. I have completed my graduation from IIT Guwahati in bachelor's in design, and then I have worked for a year or two in industry, and then I have done my MBA from IIM Calcutta. So after doing my MBA, I think I have gathered a decent exposure to industry, to businesses. I've worked on various projects which I've been associated with various industries, and right now, because of studying in such a premier institute, I've had the opportunity of being exposed to what is going on in the business world right now. That what are the changes that has happened because of the pandemic, and I've also been a part of my placement committee, and I have interacted very closely with corporates. So I believe that system engineering is something which is very extensively used in huge industries in corporate right now, and they are doing you people of course are faculties and would be following a very academic approach towards it, but what I have seen is that this actually in implementation, that how there are various tools which help people to actually bind in all the business together, to understand the processes, to analyze it, to measure it, and how it all works, and how it is actually changing with time, and how digitalization is impacting everything. So that is broadly the topic of our discussion today. On that note, let me start with my presentation. This would be the first slide, that why do we need to talk about the industrial perspective right now? So I think you can, let's make it a very interactive session, and you can also pitch in your ideas in the chat window. And so anything from all of you, that why do you think that right now it is required to understand the industrial perspective? You can type your answers in the chat. Nobody. That's okay. There is Money P. Sam. Learning without application is empty knowledge. So industrial application has to be purpose and focus. Definitely, Money. That is a very good perspective. That is very true. That application is very important. That only knowledge wouldn't be sufficient, and actually, application is why we are trying to gain all the knowledge. Any more ideas, perspectives on that? Because in MBA, we have learned that peer-to-peer learning is something which is very important. You know, how much we are able to learn in a group together with each other. Nothing can compensate for that. Classroom learning is all about learning from each other. So I believe that all of you are faculties here, and you might have really interesting perspectives on it. and it would be great if we all can interact and share. Yes, so Prateek sir writes to find gap between theory and applications. Definitely, sir. That is a very important thing. Fine, I think the chats can keep on coming. Okay, so Dr. Parul Gandhi, what we study needs to be implemented, definitely. So what I would suggest to all of you is that keep on the chats coming, and we can all view the chat and discuss them, as well as the presentation can go on. That would be okay. My voice is not audible. Is there a I don't know, is there a problem with the internet? Is it not audible at all, or is it tracking?
No,
It is audible.
it is audible.
It is audible.
You can speak.
Okay,
It is
okay.
audible. No problem.
Yeah.
It is also
Thank you
audible
so
to
much.
us.
Thank you. Yeah. Because of the changing things in the industry, it's different to experience. Yes, that is also very true. Okay, so let us proceed with the presentation right now, and then we'll get back on this and we'll discuss more about it. So exactly as Mr. Mani quoted, that it is application-based approach. First of all, it is very important to learn from the real life problems, that whatever has occurred in the real life, there are lot of case studies. There are problems that huge corporates and businesses are facing. For example, right now, what was happening in the case of pandemic, where so many businesses were suffering such kind of utter loss. And in that case, there was this very important urgent requirement of having a corporate restructuring, or trying to understand that how to optimize the costs, how to reduce the cost, how to change your operations to gain the maximum profits. Yes, exactly, to have practical knowledge as well. So it got really important to understand from real life problems. Then the second important point is we need to understand, like, it has to be an application based approach. We do understand all the systems, we can analyze them, and we can see how they work in accordance with each other, but how do we really apply it in real life? Industry is businesses are something that are actually making money out of it. The entire economy is developing based on these huge businesses, and when businesses is at that level of scale, that huge scale, there are so many components and moving systems in it, like the finance department, the marketing department, the sales, the manufacturing, the procurement. So the entire tying up of them becomes very important. And with the upcoming age of technology and digitalization, where everything is getting super connected, it gets very important to understand that how these traditional approaches of system engineering now change or apply differently to the industry right now, and how can corporates and we in general can make the most out of it. Then the third important reason is that the growing digitalization, that right now, because there has been a huge technology adoption, especially after the coming of Jio, there has been huge internet penetration in the entire Indian market. And of course, even the big firms have made their approach very much digitized. Everybody wants to take their business online. Even the businesses as raw as manufacturing are using database and systems to actually use tools to optimize their cost and everything. So in this age of digitalization, it becomes very important that how does this combine with business, and we can make the entire system out of it and make the most out of it. So in the original traditional systems approach, we might now want to understand that how digitalization and technology is going to help us make the most out of it. What are the various places, the various interactions where technology can speed up the process, or optimize it, or decrease the manual labor, or help us save the costs. Yes, so coming to business systems engineering. What business systems engineering is a detailed approach to identify and implement the business processes. So when there is a huge business running, there are various processes. Like for example, in my internship at Citibank, I was given like it was a very small project, but it kind of gives an overall overview of how processes work in an international bank as huge as that. So we had about 77,000 corporate clients and their accounts and all the details and information. So the bank was trying to digitalize it. And it was a small operation, like as small as that these statements they were sending, that it was getting very costly. And in the case of pandemic, many businesses were not even using the actual printout statements. So what Citibank wanted to do was they wanted to digitize the entire thing. And an operation as small as that required so many departments, so many things to go through, so many systems of checks and balances. And to optimize that entire system, it required a lot of effort. And there was a lot of stakeholder management involved, trying to understand that, okay, which department is managed by who, and how would it all work together. And it took me about 2 entire months to get it to increase by about 20%. So this is the scale we are talking about here, and these are the kind of processes we are talking about in real life. And so this was one example of a business process or a task, that okay, that we are a bank, we are sending e-statements to different clients, and how do we do that, and how do we make it better, how do we optimize the cost there. The approach on how to do it, how to identify the problems and gaps, and how to make the most out of it is what we call, we use the systems engineering approach here. And I believe that this is a very good application place for the systems engineering concepts. Then coming to how do we really go about this, like how do we identify that which business processes we need to look after. So first of all, it starts with how a company starts conducting an evaluation of its business processes. Like it, first of all, it wants to understand that, okay, what is all our business capable of doing, what are its potentials, how do we identify that, which are the processes like actually encapsulated. And once you have identified the process, and then they try to optimize it, okay, now these are the processes and how do we cut the cost in it. So this is usually done when there is a slowdown in the economy, where the business wants to optimize the cost, or where there is huge economic growth, where there are so many opportunities and potentials lying out, and the business wants to make the most out of it. Maybe launch a new product chain, or maybe make a new department, or maybe start new technology R&D, so that they can use more technology and bring some disruption, or maybe to gain competitive advantage. So these are the reasons where such kind of thing would be carried on. Then the main component of this approach is business process engineering. So first of all, for the systems engineering to proceed, we first of all identify the processes and try to work on that. So it consists of making a detailed review of all the processes and analyzing the data. Now, how do we really understand that the processes we are carrying out of the businesses performing? Like, how do you really measure that, is the performance good or not? So to really measure that, there is a system of metrics involved, that okay, if this is how we are going to calculate the performance of a business. For example, for a sports app, the measurement of the performance would be that how many new customers per month are using this app, or what is the customer retention, what is the percentage of customer retention of this app. So these are the example of different metrics which can be used to analyze the performance of a business. And generally, performance can be associated with how well a business process is doing. At times, the metrics is particular to one particular business process. Let us try to understand this in a bit of detail with the help of a flow chart. So this is a system engineering in business flow chart. And it basically follows the approach of how we generally make flowcharts, like analyze, organize, perform, assess, and develop. And it's like a loop, an entire cycle. So starting from here, so these are the different things in a corporate, that there is a context, there is a scope, there is a purpose. So we try to understand that why do we want to carry on this entire approach, the responsibilities and accountabilities of the corresponding stakeholders. So first of all, we need to jot down the problems and why are we doing it, and then come to analyze the needs or the required capabilities of the organization. And as what I was talking about, that you need to identify the business processes, analyze that what we are capable of doing. Then the next step would be to organize. You have actually saw that these are your business processes. So we need to think that, okay, how are we going to work through that? So how would we performing that? Then come systems engineering, where we have identified the business processes, and then we are
Ma'am, hear you.
that determining the gaps, that what do we know about it and what are the actually gaps in the performance, and how do we really access the performance by actually having some metrics of measurement, as we discussed before. Then after we have understood that how it is performing, then we actually develop that business enterprise or capability, or actually think about that how we really solve. At every level. Then it also impacts the culture of the organization. How do you really bring a huge change in the organization? It starts with the people, and people make the culture of the organization. Then once after the performance system engineering, then that is when we understand how much value our entire this process has produced. And once we have identified the values, we will be able to measure it again using the metrics we have decided. And once we have measured it and we have developed the solutions, we can take it to the governance management, which would be able to implement in the strategy, and again which comes back to how things were earlier. And this is the kind of loop which can be followed and which can help improve the process of a business in case of the economic slowdown, or when they cannot change everything. Uh, so why are we right now talking about the business processes, or why do we want to understand that how do you really need to restructure, and why is this applicable right now? So right now, living in the times of when COVID-19 has hit us, and as we can see that the entire market ran like really down. Maybe it was worse than the depression of 2008. And this was the time when businesses had to think on their feet. Like people had to leave offices immediately and they had to set up their entire business remotely, which was very difficult for the organizations who had never prepared for it or never thought for it, or they did not have the culture of working remotely. Most of the organizations did not have this much culture of working remotely. So this is again, I would like to request you to write in the chat that what do you think are the changes that this pandemic has brought to business processes or business operations or the way we are working right now? Because you as faculties would now be teaching classes online, and what is the difference that you feel in interacting with the admin, and what really changes has this pandemic caused? Oh, I was not audible. Am I audible now?
You are very clear, madam.
You are audible
Continue.
now.
You are audible. Yes, yes.
Uh, yes, so I request everyone to. Am I not audible properly? Hello?
You are audible now. Absolutely no problem. In between it was
Okay.
lost.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, so I was saying that I would really changed. Yes, model has changed and restructuring is required. That is true. Thank you, Vineet sir. enabled by digital digitalization.
Ma'am, can't hear you.
Yes, that's correct. But the functions not enough. But they were working changing things according to digitalization, and that is true that digitalization brings up a lot of disruptions, and disruption is kind of a contradiction of the system's approach. But new problems, innovative solutions. Yes, that is true. Okay, my voice is still breaking. Should I stop my video for some time? Would that be better?
Yeah, that could help if you cut your video, audio will
Okay.
become better.
Am I audible? Is it better now?
Yeah, it is better now.
Yes, you are audible, ma'am. You can continue with this structure.
New problems, innovative solutions. That is very right. So I would really request you to like write your perspectives on the chat. That how do you think has pandemic changed our working conditions or business operations? Less practical things. Yes, that is true. Nagateja sir, can you just elaborate on what do you mean by less practical things? It's totally fine if you want to unmute yourself and speak on the call. On right on only.
I mean, it's a comparing to theory things, practical things are more required for the industrial purpose.
These
So
things that
there we
Nagateja sir. Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, sir. You were saying something.
I mean, it's a more than theory thing. Practical things are more required for the industrial purpose. So we are lagging for that practical things. That's I want to say.
Right, sir. That is very true. That pandemic called for times where we had to think on our feet, that there was not enough time to really research about anything or write about anything or discuss. Businesses had to just change their entire operations and everything. All these shops were closing. FMCG companies suffered majorly, and especially the smaller ones, they or most of the companies, they had to close their operations and were on hiring freezes, and they had to cut their bonuses. Pandemic may not have, yeah, exactly, but small scale industries were striving to survive. Then we have shifted from fixed working hours to finishing required tasks. Yes, Prateek sir, that is very right. That right now I believe that this is also the problem, that the work, like we might be working 24 hours now. There is no difference between work and personal life. Like work is going on all the time. And technology has kind of enabled it, but also it like works as a con in this scenario. Well, okay, let us get back to the presentation. So pandemic and digitalization. after the hitting of this pandemic, so it opened, we can say that it actually had a lot of problems. Businesses were suffering, people were striving to even continue their operations. But at the same time, it also opened new avenues and opportunities to which actually challenged the traditional business processes. Like this model was always in place, like since forever, that all the people working for a particular business have to go and sit under one roof and work together so that they can communicate, they can hold meetings. This had been going on for ages, and that is how all the processes worked in business. But now this got very seriously challenged after COVID-19, where people were forced to work remotely. All the people were working remotely at all the time, and businesses were still running. And we could see how much IT industry thrived post it. Businesses are being run remotely, relying now. Also, because of this pandemic, we are relying very majorly on the technology. Like Zoom became a hit during the pandemic. It started getting used very extensively. Then many companies started working more on the AI and digital things, because now we are more and more reliant on technology. Then now earlier what used to happen, that all the meetings and everything was carried out physically in the office spaces. But now I believe that even if this pandemic is over and we get back to our normal working lives, it would be more of a hybrid business model. And not just hybrid business model in the terms of where we are working from or how we are working. It would be also in the business operations. Like I read about, there were industries which started having complete automation in their factories, where there were actually there was zero manual labor required. And more of the industries are striving towards having a condition where they do not need manual labor at all, or they do not leave to people to actually come to office. And like there has been the demand of automation so much right now. So that is how I believe that technology has changed even the working of business operations. And now, because people are not actually in the offices and people don't need to manually go from one room to another to get things done, everything is being done on the technology. For example, like even when you join a new company, even their onboarding process. So earlier you need to get the printout of all the forms and sign all the forms and go to different departments and submit it. And now you can just sit at your home and download all the forms and have a digital signature to everything and just submit it by the click of one button. It has become as easy as that. And can you imagine if you really scale it up and realize that how big of an impact it is going to create on the entire industry, that so much of cost saving, paper saving, time saving, and things could be done at a click of a button. We always knew this, we always had this technology, but I think COVID helped us really expand and exploit it, because I believe that, yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, and that is the kind of thing that we are going through right now. So when we are talking about technology, yes, Rupak sir, IoT emerging too. Actually, we are going to talk about IoT in this after some time. Then the impact of technology and right now in the industry. So first of all, as I was talking about how automation, how business processes have improved, how they have become faster. So I believe that technology has majorly impacted the productivity, with how we can see that there is such a penetration of internet even to rural places in India, even to the most remote places. There, like little children having the access to education, people are able to be employed just using the internet or technology. So in general, even in the industry and outside, even as a population, like our productivity has hugely increased when technology comes to being utilized in business. Then coming to exact business processes, even there have been very complex technical tools which help improve the productivity of a business by multiple folds. And and it also helps in developing the skills of the worker or the employees who are working in the industry. Then the second point about it is acceleration. As we just discussed that first, the things which require to actually people going from one place to another, or actually having to carrying out things manually or using the entire Excel files and calculating things and requiring manual labor. Now they can be done by AI. There are technologies that can do it. Technologies where you can just enter the data and it would give you the results like in seconds, and there is absolutely no manual labor required. And we can see that even the online fast data transfer, the cloud platforms which are there right now, have really accelerated the business operations and the processes that actually, like for example, the example I was giving you of actually going on different departments, submitting the forms, the face-to-face interactions have really reduced, and you can just send out bulk mails now or have rapid interaction, use social media, just put on statuses and things get done. Then coming to global communication. So I think this is a huge pro that technology has brought to businesses. That earlier what used to happen, that it was a very far-fetched dream of collaborating with global brands or going international, or you actually had to take your entire store or your entire business outside to carry operations there. But with the coming of internet and getting all the business online, and having the emergence of e-commerce and the entire products and services which are all technology based and working as businesses, has helped businesses expand internationally very fast and sorry, very fast and in a very optimized way. So companies are able now are able to have a global teams, are able to communicate globally, transfer resources, and they are able to even conduct businesses with clients without actually visiting their place. And they can have suppliers all over the world, and it is kind of facilitating globalization even more. It has also facilitated integration and independence through the improvement of transport. So it's not just about digital, but also like the improvement of transport, communications, logistics. Then coming to product development, as we can see that the kind of disruptions that technological innovations are capable of making, they have made users, they have actually increased the demand in the market. Now, because users are able to order food just using one app or having one click, users are asking for more. So earlier, they did not mind actually going to the restaurant and getting food. But now, because they are so technologically oriented and they know that it is so comfortable to order food right now or order cab right now, so they are demanding new products. And that is why there was a boom of startups, that the market was actually getting ready to actually have these new products because there was a demand in the market. Therefore, because there is things are changing at such a high pace, businesses have to continuously adjust and be up to date with the technology, know what is happening in the business, because if they keep on doing the things they have always been doing, they would be nowhere. And because of technology, the competition has increased by multiple folds. Then businesses of course need to adjust their operations as well to match the market demands. Then businesses are generally driven by the desires of the consumers or how much there is a demand in the market. And now when there is technologically goods and convenient services available, so as we discussed that there is uh, huge competition, and there is huge innovation, disruptions, and new technology adoptions. Then coming to automation. Now automation, from actually automation in factories till actually automation in business processes, or actually using the entire data of the industry and forecasting the next sales and understanding that how much to produce in the next quarter or things like that, they do not even require manual intervention right now. So they have after this new technology adoption, things have improved rapidly, and the business operations have transformed multiple growth for and there has been very good growth in the industry because of this. Almost every business process has seen the use of technology and seen a significant transformation. Even companies as traditional as electronic companies, or like companies like General Electronics, have gone through proper full-fledged digital transformation and brought about huge changes and actually made huge profits in the process. Then with increased automation, definitely a lot of things have changed, and there have been a lot of technological advancements, and which have also affected the production processes. Okay. So talking about technologies, and we have been talking about that, how technology has really improved the business. So let us discuss on that. What are the new technologies that are right now in the market and how it is really impacting the business? And what are the applications that this technology has on business and the impact it has on it? Any comments from all of you regarding the technology, or how you have noticed that technology has helped a business grow? Or I would also appreciate like examples of some companies which have used this new technology to actually go ahead and beat the competition in the market. Okay, so Anil sir writes that how optimization improves the system. Okay, so I would say that optimization is something which, by the definition, says that by which we are able to like use the resources in the most cost-effective way and produce the maximum output from it. And I believe that the entire reason why we are studying systems engineering is to optimize the entire thing. That all the systems which are all the elements of the system which are working in coherence with each other. So those systems are we are able to utilize those resources to the maximum possible way and make the most out of it. I believe that is why optimization is used to improve the systems. Then technology helps through innovation. Yes, Manisha, that is right. Uber was made possible by the availability of smartphones. Yes, that is a very good insight. As I was saying that after Jio started this free internet thing, they were able to have internet penetration in even the most rural areas. And apart from this internet, they were also handing out these Jio small smartphones, which made people, even the people in the most remote and rural areas, even the people who couldn't afford a smartphone, they could use a phone and access internet. And that is when the companies like Uber or the Zomato and all could thrive, because their business model was entirely based on the technology, or people using internet, or everything getting application based. The entire e-commerce works on that. Yes, India has the cheapest bandwidth, thanks to Reliance and Jio for doing that. Yes, that is true. So any other comments regarding how do you think that technology has changed the shape of the industry, or what are the changes, or how our behavior as consumers has changed? I would really appreciate that if we can make it a really interactive discussion where we can build on each other's thoughts. Like you can also like unmute yourself and speak out, like we can interact and chat.
See, this is Sam here. It is not technology which makes the business go. It is the innovation of the opportunities thrown by the technology. Identifying the opportunities, what drives businesses, and like better products, services, and the utility in general. So technology is an enabler, in my humble opinion.
Yes, Manisha, that is very right. No, thank you so much for contributing. Yes, technology has been the enabler, and last decade, last few years, we have really seen the apex of it. If there are no other comments, I think we can get back to the presentation. Anybody has any other comments or opinions about these trending technologies, or the companies do you think have really able to change their business model using these technologies? Fine, we'll come back to the comments. Let's get back to the presentation. Yeah. So coming to artificial intelligence, we have seen that after the technology has become capable enough to collect the huge amounts of data, years and years of data of business processes, and we are able to feed it into the system. And the codes for artificial intelligence has helped us to actually make the most out of it. Actually it is able to predict that what the next data would be or what you can do about it. Or for example, I worked in an AI based startup for 1 year, and let me tell you that what they were doing. So what these big corporations, like these big e-commerce companies or these big companies, they spend millions and millions of monies on customer service. That customers call that, okay, my order was not delivered, or what do I do in this, and they spend so much money on it. They do have FAQs on their website where people can actually go and access and see the answers, but people generally don't do that. People call to the customer center. So what this company was doing, they were making chatbots. And so chatbot is one very interesting application of artificial intelligence, where you can talk to a system, a robot, and he will have the answer to most of your questions. In the case of customer service, where about 70% of the queries were repetitive. So the same customer service agent would sit on the phone booth and would answer from morning till evening, same questions with the same written answers. So that is where they saw this opportunity that, okay, this is redundant, this is manual work, and maybe a machine or a system can do that. If a computer or a bot can identify that what the customer is asking for, it is anyways a written reply, and you can always send it to them. And that is how this customer service, the idea of this customer service chatbots emerged. And this company, they were making customer service chatbots for these big businesses, and I'll tell you, they actually saved millions of rupees after the chatbots got implemented, because they reduced the manual labor in their customer service stations, where they did not use so many people. They did not have to have so many hours of customer service, because most of the redundant queries were being solved by the chatbot. Even it improved the user experience multiple folds because of this. And this was one example of the application of AI in businesses, in customer service specifically. So customer service is also one of the business processes, right? And so let us see. So this is the challenges I have quoted in this slide. They are kind of in context with the pandemic right now, and why it is being said that the companies which are investing heavily in AI right now, or which are working on AI, would be thriving the most in the upcoming time after the pandemic. So starting with that, one of the challenges was this uncertain and variable supply and demand. So what was happening right now, that because of the pandemic, shops were closing, people were uncertain that what is going to happen next, that will the shops would open. So in these times, how AI, as I said, that when you feed a lot of data, it is able to forecast in real time and tell that how the supply and demand would be would be there for the next few months. So AI would help in updating the forecast and accelerate decision making. So in this case, businesses would not waste their money or have losses because of manufacturing too much or investing there too much, where they actually realize beforehand that there is not that much demand in the market. Then one example of this, that digital control towers and decision support, that the complex codes of AI are able to make decisions for the corporates if you feed enough data into it. Then the next challenge we can talk about are operations and supply disruptions. As there was uncertainty and variability in demand, there is a variability in operations as well. So AI can help in flexibly relocating the resources. It can improve the cost efficiency. As we discussed that in the entire systems processes, so there are actually AI-based tools and software where you actually write all the different elements, you make the entire system out of it, and actually the AI tool is able to tell you on how to reallocate your resources. Or I think what operations research does, what we do manually, in that AI is able to do that on a bigger scale and in a more complex way. And yes, the example would be that a real-time value chain optimization. Then for challenges like suboptimal workforce allocation, Then again, like as we discussed, that flexibly reallocating resources, AI can also optimize remote offerings, and it can reallocate workforce according to the time. Then if the challenges of changing consumer confidence and priorities, then AI can help in a rapid response to new behavior. And because AI works on data, so if the data keeps on changing, so it can detect the changes very quickly, and would help the business to prepare for the upcoming challenges, or how to restructure the things for the coming times. So again, real-time product customization. So these are the various ways in this times of pandemic how AI would be able to help, and how the companies which would be using AI or tools having AI would benefit most out of it. Then coming to the next technology, cloud computing. So right now, most of the companies are running this software as a service model, on this model, where they are providing entire software to different clients as the service. For example, what Salesforce does, that it provides this entire tool, a software, or these business optimization tools are there. So, but where are their servers? So these are servers are there which are stored at a different location, and there are companies which provide such services. For example, you would have heard about Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform. So it is kind of a bigger business version of how we use the Google Docs and Google Sheets. Like, we do not need to use the system, because the kind of complex processes that are being run right now with the technology, a system or a small CPU is not enough to run these processes. And that is where cloud computing comes into picture. It helps us perform very complex calculations and these technological all the tools and analysis which we need to do at a remote location. And these services can be both public and private. And so these have also changed the entire scene of the industry overall. For example, Amazon was not actually earning a lot from its Prime Videos or from its e-commerce platform, from compared to how much it ended up earning by its Amazon Web Services. So after Amazon's cloud platform launched, its shares and its market value soared like anything. That is the kind of demand which is there right now in the business world for cloud computing. Oh, are you not able to see the screen share? Can someone comment if you're able to see the screen?
I think screen seems to be stuck at some old one, not changing.
Let me just share
I
it again.
think what you can do, yeah, or if it doesn't come, then you can unshare and then once again share. That's what you can do.
Yes. That is what I'm doing. Is my screen visible now?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, it is visible. It is
Yeah.
visible. It is visible.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So coming to what IoT systems are. So right now, as I was talking about automation in factories and everything, so how Internet of Things work is that devices are filled with sensors or antennas in a way that the different devices are able to communicate with each other using IoT. For example, that if your car is IoT empowered, so if there will be sensors in your car keys, that if you will come near the car with the car keys, you will not have to press any buttons. The car would know and it would unlock itself. And another example of IoT is that the accident prevention thing, that if different cars are associated with IoT, so cars would know if they are around each other's safe distance, or if they are intruding each other's spaces, and they would alarm you before there is a probable collision. Or the right now, the how Tesla is marketing its idea of self-driving cars. So that entire concept is based on IoT. So I believe that the application of IoT in business right now would be in disrupting the different kind of products which are available in the market right now, and not only the products which they are providing, but also in business operations. That if we are we are having a factory and it is being run totally based on IoT, there might actually be no manual force required at all. That is what the technology of IoT is capable of achieving. Right now, IoT is not so much there in India, and there is tons of potential and capability in IoT, and it is still technology which is in its very naive developing phase. So how IoT works is that it first collects data with the help of, it has sensors which can work on infrared or ultrasound the sensations. Then it is able to collect and transfer the data by a IoT hub or a gateway. So actually in our college, we even worked on, if you would have heard of Arduino. So Arduino is a kit or a circuit board which helps you code this entire IoT thing and make actually tangible interacting pieces with the help of sensors and everything. So IoT hub is the software or the system from where you're operating these devices. Then what IoT is capable of doing, that it can actually, based on the data it has collected and the data it has analyzed, it can analyze it. It can actually take actions. For example, how smartphone can recognize that you might be receiving a call, or there can be analytics of business application like customer relationship, like the customer, there can be automated customer service, or how vending machines work. Then there's also a lot of application of IoT in backend systems. So these were some of the new technologies that have changed the face of business. And I don't think that most of the technologies are right now being used that much in the businesses. We are still in the process of implementing them. And COVID, the pandemic, has kind of speeded up this process. And because of that, I think that these technologies, like, there is right now a huge demand, a huge potential, a huge necessity for these technologies to work. And I believe that if these technologies are properly being we are able to integrate these in the current business systems right now, with the help of very rapid restructuring or continuous reevaluation and checking if we are up to the market standards, companies might be able to gain a huge competitive advantage with the help of these technologies. And not just the competitive advantage, but the entire economy in the terms of producing value with the given resources might increase multiple folds. And as we all know, that any economy is able to grow only when it is able to produce some real value. And these upcoming technologies have that potential in them. And maybe this is the time that companies also started investing as well, that in the coming decade or in coming few years, we might actually be able to see the actual development in some of this, and we can see that how businesses are able to thrive riding on this. So on that note, I would like to conclude the presentation. If you have any questions or thoughts, let us discuss on the chat. And we can also, I'm not sure, like, I would like to confirm with the organizers if we do have enough time, so we can have like about 5 minutes of discussion over that. And on that note, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I just want to ask the organizers, like, do we have 5 minutes to have a Q&A session or to have some interaction on the chat, or can we close here?
No, it's fine. It's fine. If there are some queries, we can always take couple of questions. Or else, if there's no query, then we can call it a session, no problem. But I would love to have some queries if at all any are there. That is always good.
Sure. Thank you, Vineet sir. So if anybody has any comments or suggestions, because like I'm really young right now, and all of you are faculties, and you definitely would be knowing more, and I would love to have your perspective on it, or anything that you would like to comment or share, or any kind of questions or anything. Yeah, thank you so much, Gajendra sir. Yeah, I think that is it, and there are no more comments. So, on that
Okay.
note, I would like to really thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity at such a young age to interact with such faculties and have this presentation. I hope that it did add some value to you, or at least open some horizons. And thank you so much. It was a wonderful time, and you all have been wonderful people to interact with. Thank you.
I think there are two things that we teacher fraternity always do understand. So a teacher can the way you have presented. I was there in the class full time, and it is really good because you are not a trained teacher or experienced teacher, but you have been working on desk and working with different assignments. But still, you could justify the way because you were since beginning when we started you were having a little doubt that where will I be the right person. I was looking for somebody who is young with all who is of all new latest technologies and who has sometime passed in industry wherein seen how these are applied. So that's how we picked you, and that's a great so the organizers, that is Department of Mechanical Engineering, MNIT, thanks for the whole day's proceeding that you have been with us. So if any other thing, and thanks to our IT team, this WebEx is now operational. There are 2-3 inputs that I think Charu, if you wish, you can log off because that's fine. Now we'll discuss something of our class with our class people, anything related to any other general issues. So thank you, Charu Soni. You did the way I wanted. Yeah. So
Thank you so
you
much.
can
Thank
now
you.
leave the
Okay,
meeting. Yeah,
sure.
please. Thank you. Thank you. So there are 2-3 inputs which I have received. I have addressed some of them. One input is that people keep logging off for some or other reason, and when they try to log in, sometime it was found that the IT team did not admit them. So I have already made the alternative arrangement. So now there will be two terminals where one is host, one is co-host. So in case is host is engaged somewhere, the co-host will take care. I think Abhishek, you are listening. So Abhishek, मेरी आवाज
Yes,
आ रही
sir.
है?
Hello. Yes, sir. Listening, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your voice is coming. Hello. Hello.
आवाज आ रही है? Am I audible?
Sir, अभी नहीं आ रही आपकी आवाज.
एक सेकंड में थोड़ा सा नेट में
Yes, sir. Now you are audible, sir. Now you are audible,
हाँ,
sir.
मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि आपको भी वो अथॉरिटी हमने दिलवा दी है जिसमें कि आप एडमिट कर
जी, जी.
सकते हैं कोई कैंडिडेट अगर
Okay,
आता
sir.
है तो क्योंकि
Yes,
अभी
sir.
केवल राकेश कर रहे थे वो काम तो उसमें ये
जी,
हो
जी.
रहा था कि कई बार मान लीजिए वो जरूरी काम से अगर बाहर है 5 मिनट के लिए और उतने देर में कोई वेट कर रहा है तो हम नहीं चाहते किसी को वेट करना पड़े सो
Okay, sir.
वो आपको नजर रखनी पड़ेगी कि पूरे टाइम अगर कोई भी हमको दिख रहा है वेटिंग इन दी लॉबी सो इमीडिएटली एडमिट हिम they should not
Okay, sir.
wait for any moment so that's what we have done in view of the suggestions I have got so that's fine tomorrow's link are already shared with you on your mail the same will be posted on this WhatsApp group also thank you very much for whatever system failed and strategically we could manage to some extent tomorrow we have 3 experts I have already told I'm once again repeating Professor Akshay Dwivedi from IIT Roorkee on QFD, then Professor Borat from Sylvania, He's going to take us through blockchain technology for in the supply chain and ERP by Professor Mishra from MNIT Bhopal. This is how will be tomorrow's proceeding. Don't forget to fill the feedback form. All the 3 links will remain open till 12 o'clock in the night. So kindly communicate that all should fill by 12 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow sharp at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.